Okay, manners, everybody, well on television. I said manners, I didn't say stop talking.
You wanted to say.
Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to the City of Millersville Planning Commission regular meeting agenda for Tuesday, October the 9th, 2018, here at City Hall. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll have the invocation, or we'll stand, and Brother Gregory will have the invocation, and I'll lead the pledge of allegiance.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father God, we give you glory for that. Yet another beautiful day, Heavenly Father, creation. And Lord, we bless your name, Lord. Bless us this day. And God, we give you an honor and glory. Be with those less fortunate. And Lord, those who serve our nation and their families. And God, help us in planning and zoning to do what thou hast us to do. But lean upon your understanding, walk with your side, God. Thank you for that. And the blood applied, God, we love you for the Son on the cross. Be with us, lead God. In Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I like the figure with which everybody says that.
Very strange.
Mr. Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Chairman Frank Fox.
Present.
Vice Chairman Larry Petty.
Here.
Secretary David Gregory. Here. Mr. Keith Bell. Here. Mr. Lee Smith. Here. Mrs. Deborah Wade.
Here.
We got a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Item 5, disclosure of ex parte communication. Anybody like to comment at this time? If you talk about anything that's on the agenda? Okay. No communications. I hope you've had an opportunity to review the minutes from the last meeting that we had down at the community center. And if you were here, and I'd love to entertain a motion that the minutes be approved as read or as corrected.
I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Second motion.
Mr. Bell and Mr. Gregory. I hear all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. All right. We have item 7, public comments, limited to 3 minutes per speaker for items on this agenda. Don't have nothing to say.
Mr. Chairman, we have the applicant here. Will be available for any questions
Okay.
when we bring up the item for their site plan review.
Okay. Thank you. And speaking of that, we'll get right into it. Number 8, site plan for 106 Long Drive, swing lift transport services. You have the floor, sir.
Yes, sir, thank you. This is a new business coming to our community, and appropriately, they are located up on Long Drive, which for quite a while has been envisioned as our light industrial and medium industrial areas of the city. This particular project is not proposing any new buildings or structures, but rather grading of the site. And actually only about half or a third of the site in reality. But we took a look at the grades out there, and while a large portion appears to be able to function with just gravel, we were concerned, and our engineer was concerned with the roadway approaches coming into it off a Long Drive. Felt that those grades were a bit extreme for meeting our stormwater requirements. The applicant, his engineer, has made that revision for us. Still waiting to hear back from the city's consultant engineer on a final approval, but the applicant has made the changes that were requested by our advisors, OHM. So, yes, sir. Yeah, the darker shaded areas are the paved areas. The lighter hatching or lighter shading will be just the ground. Now, this business, it's kind of an innovative business. What they do is they generally modify shipping containers into offices and storage containers. I think you also retail them as well, don't you? Yes, yeah. So they're coming up out of Texas, so we're welcoming them to Tennessee.
So I can take a container, stack it 3 high and 6 wide and have an office.
Are you making these into residential units? I know that's been
We have
several,
Texas, but yeah, we have that enough to do the fixes with that. But we only make them in the field offices for, construction companies.
I got a friend down in Bogalusa, Louisiana, and out there on his farm, he's got a 2-story barn made out of those containers.
Yeah.
Weirdest looking thing I've ever seen.
it's a pretty neat concept too.
Yeah, but I couldn't get a usage permit in Millersville.
Yeah, that was gonna be a question. How did you get the cows this time?
They use it for storage.
We don't need to go there at this time.
Feed.
I don't think we do. I have a farm and I could make use of that. Actually, shipping containers are prohibited in residential R3, 4, and 5. But I believe your acreage is large enough and is classified as R1, so have at it.
I digress, I apologize. This is interesting, and considering where you're gonna, where you're going, I glory in your imagination.
And it's essentially outdoor manufacturing, but not really constructing anything, but rather modifying these shipping containers. And then they'll be placed on trailers and hauled to the respective clients.
I have a question. What kind of weight are we talking when you say you're gonna build it, reconstruct it, put it on a trailer and pull it out?
An empty container weighs, like the biggest empty container would weigh 8,500 pounds, and once you dig it out, it might be another, maybe 4,000 pounds, if we build it to a 4.
So you're saying less than 20,000 pounds?
Yeah.
Minimal amount.
Yeah. We talked to it.
Right.
That was my question, Mr. Petty.
Yeah.
So,
That was, you know, I know it's just a short distance in there, but a road ain't gonna be able to take a whole lot. You don't have, of course, you don't have time plan yet.
Oh, I think he's either.
2 years,
Still pretty,
2 years?
I would like to get done in 6 months.
Oh, that's even better. That's great.
The more you do, it's good.
And there's anticipated some sales tax revenue.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, this,
Yeah,
we're very excited about that.
we sell a lot of containers and we rent them too, so.
Are you gonna sell on site?
We do sell some on site, sometimes people come and look at them, and then other times we just, it's over the telephone.
Would it be known for selling on site?
Yes. Yes, and the concentration of activities is the manufacturing, which aligns with the light industrial.
Okay. And that includes remodification, right?
In my interpretation, yes.
I jumped the gun, got excited, and started talking before we got a second, so on we go.
I move that we conditionally approve this site plan for consideration by the city commission.
Is there a second? Mr. Petty, second, thank you.
Is it a conditional? That's what it says here.
Conditional based on our engineer's final acceptance, not the city commission.
Okay, I move that we conditionally approve this based on our city engineer's final acceptance of the site plan.
And I second that.
Now it's discussed.
Now we have a second, and yes, discussion, go ahead, Mr. Mill.
I think you have an opportunity right there with that parcel of land. Pretty ingenious too, when you think about being that close to San State. I look forward to seeing it.
And by the way, Mr. Smith, I neglected to mention that there is a home on the property already. And the proposal is to leave it partially residential, but also their local office.
And they may expand as time goes.
You get through with the roof? Would you get through with your roof?
Yeah, it's down there.
Is he buying the house that's on there too?
He bought the whole acreage, including the house.
3 barns.
Did he buy everything on the other side of the road?
Not yet.
We need to settle some good times.
Then you got the other side.
We need to get behind this guy.
Actually, we had plans for the
He's
other
gonna
side.
be, he's gonna be our industrial landlord. I can see it coming. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, let the record show it passed by unanimous vote. All right. Item B. Amend Code of Ordinances, Chapter 90, Section 90-174, Design Review Standards for Residential Fences. I ain't even going there. I'll let you do it.
This issue has already been before this board, and it was carried or forwarded to the city commission, and several commissioners had issue with some of the language. In particular, the definition of front yard versus front elevation. And a couple of you will probably recall that conversation last month or so. So we took a look at some of the vernacular here and modified to specifically define, only in this case, front yard and tie it to the front elevation of the home. And at that point then, like for instance, if we have a home that's on a corner lot or a home that has, like for instance, I'll give you Louisville Highway and Cease Mill. There are multiple homes along that road that have technically 2 frontages and would have to comply with 2 front yard standards, including the full setbacks for both. This modifies that and reduces it down so that the opposite side from the front elevation would be considered the rear yard. A little talky, speaky, and lengthy, but I think this meets the concerns of the city commission, so that we don't have, in particular for fences, we're not changing anything for accessory structures or anything else. This is just fences so that you can place fences on areas of your lot that may not normally have been allowed because of this whole front yard, front elevation conflict. Because our code is very specific that any portion of a lot that faces a public road is considered front yard. But it's important to leave that front yard description elsewhere in the code because it applies to a lot of other, a lot of other applications.
So, excuse me, the thing there, B is the pivot phrase.
It is.
Section B.
Yes, sir. And that's what references the front elevation.
So you're allowing fences in the front yard?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Not to exceed 4 feet in height.
How do we determine what is not constructed principally of wire?
That would include chain link, that would include barbed wire.
What
horse fence,
if you have a, say like a wooden fence which I've seen with farm wire, you know, framed within the wooden fence, would that qualify?
I think so.
High tensile fence?
I would position that whatever the majority of the material that the fence is constructed with is what defines the fence.
Does that become a subjective or an objective standard?
I would call it a subjective standard.
And subject to our inspectors making a determination.
To staff's interpretation. To my knowledge, we haven't encountered
I've seen in some areas where they have like a split rail fence, or they have some kind of wood framing fence, and then they put the high tensile wire there to keep their pets in or something, and they look nice, but I don't know how you determine what is primarily wire and what isn't.
It'd be the square area, I would.
I would, again, whatever the fence, the majority of the fence is made of. If it was split rail and had the no climb or the pet fencing behind it, I would. It would be wood.
So does this require a permit?
Fencing does not require a permit.
But if you want to govern it, so.
Excuse me?
You want to govern it. If you're gonna have somebody come out and look at it from the city to see if it's 4 foot, and then how you gonna know that you can build?
This would be the same thing as a code enforcement issue that, as we would encounter something that violates our municipal code.
And a multitude of cities require a building permit with fences in, especially in the front yard.
That's my question, because we are
I
talking.
know Hendersonville does, Metro does, Gallatin does.
This is a conversation that's the first time to come up. I would venture to say that we don't want to be overly burdensome, keep our rural character and not necessarily complicated with another permit.
Well, a couple of things, it could be like a land disturbance permit, there's no charge.
You know, it doesn't have to
But
be
it
a
kind of
charge.
lays out what you can do and what you can't do. People come in, I wanna build me a front yard fence, well, here is the rules, this is the.
Well, if we had that process, it would have eliminated some other problems that we've encountered.
Well, I'm just saying of the future, and then that way, later on, a year from now, the man drives by, sees it, he writes them up, nobody told me.
I
Now
wasn't
they
aware
got
of
the-
it.
They got
And it already spent.
rough.
Because
They
we
got-
$1,800 in fence.
I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be a charge for it, but it's just basically, we give you the information,
We could certainly implement
Yeah,
that.
I think
And that
that
doesn't
would
have
be a
to
bad
be
idea.
done now, but I think it's something that you need to look at.
At least you know that the people are aware of the fact that these are the standards that are required for Millersville, and please stay within those standards.
That will bring them in here to find out. Instead of just putting a fence up.
Keep them in compliance.
Well, keeping errors being created.
And I'm like Mr. Smith, I don't mind it being a freebie, as far as I'm concerned, but it's just to give the city, you and your department notification of the fact that it's being built.
Like I mentioned, it would have helped us in other
Yeah.
cases.
It would, I think I wouldn't listen to.
I think another thing, when you say, when a property has more than one front yard, I think it needs to be, you have a home where you have a front yard and back. The back door faces this road, the front door faces this road, you have one front, one rear.
And that's section B's intention to clarify that, yes.
I think that's,
Or even a side,
well,
a side yard as well.
it just says when a property has more than one front yard,
Yes.
so.
Thereafter.
I guess the best way to say that is when a property borders more than
One road,
one public roadway.
we go to the front door.
So about a mailbox in the front. Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Because you may have a side load garage that has a mailbox on the side of the house by the driveway.
Your corner lot, make face kind of one way and another one straight.
Now, what's interesting is if you locate the house with the frontage facing the corner of the intersection,
Kind of like
well, we
Bobby's.
have, yes.
She said she was gonna pick up.
Okay.
Yeah, just one more little question, just about, understanding. In the A part of this, you say a limit for fences and placed in these areas shall not exceed 4 foot, and I understand that would be the front yard of our 3 times. Now, no fence shall exceed 6 foot in any residential district. What is that, 6 foot, is that backyard?
That would be anywhere.
So are we gonna put a 4 foot in or 6 foot?
Well, in R two, you can put a
So
six.
we're in R 3 and 4 and 5, but in R 1 and 2, you can go 6 foot.
It's 4
Yes.
foot in the front, but 6 foot is the total height on anywhere else.
In R 1 and 2,
And 3, 4, and 5.
in any of our code, okay?
Yes.
All right.
The intention is that we do not get like what Millersville has had happen is fences that are 8 to 12 feet tall in between property owners and all that, and it's very irregular looking.
Yeah, I understand.
And the intention too with this, that the 6-foot fence not be forward in the front of the house or the front yard. I'll give you an example up there on Bobby Court, that stockade fence that was built all the way to the property line. Our code did not prohibit that at the time that it was constructed. This time, it will prevent that from happening.
Is it in an easement? Where they go,
It appears to be, yes, to the right of way line.
they all the way through. But it's in an easement, you could do something about it.
Only if we need to impact that easement, typically.
You may need to get to it in the middle of the night.
Our language, our code is silent on that.
No, it's not so, it's public easement. Check on that. We dealt with
Well-
that at NES.
That's why I have C on this list here, so moving forward, we don't have fences in these easements.
I understand, but any of that R needs to be corrected. Because you go out there in the middle of the night, Public Works does, and they have an emergency, and they've got to be doing something, White House water or whatever, it'll make somebody mad when you tear a fence down.
That's a risk that.
But you give them a
they
chance,
understand.
you give them a chance to move.
The city commission has taken the position with me that because the prohibition wasn't in place, not to go backwards on it.
Well,
I think, however, we should probably notify them that it does exist within a public easement, and as such, it's, as Mr. Smith has indicated, there is the potential of its destruction in order to reach that easement by utility districts. They know that, but that's to cover us.
They know it. I don't
But
think
that's
there's,
to cover the city.
I don't believe there's anything to cover.
Yeah, I don't think there is, but I don't want that argument thrown out once we tear it down. I like to anticipate what my opponent's gonna argue. And that's what they're gonna argue. I mean, it wouldn't hurt just a little letter, you know. Just
it's
some
something,
document.
it's something we call, I'm just saying.
I'd like to take that to the city commission.
That's fine, I think it should be called.
But I think, you know, as far as these red highlighted areas, I'm fine with them. But I think like Mr. Smith and Mr. Gregory, maybe we should have a for-free, building permit so that the city's notified of these requests for fences, and that we can ensure that people are aware of what the ordinances say.
But I really don't care if there's a charge on them. I mean, I buy a burning permit every year whether I burn or not.
I think Metro used to charge $5.
I mean, my permit's not that expensive, it doesn't matter if I burn or not, I pay for it. No, it's, I'm not sure it's gone. It's not much.
Here it's still fine.
No, I pay more than that. But I bought two,
Well, that's why you pay more than five.
they had a piece.
That's 10.
And we're making progress, we've had our
I think-
discussion.
So that passed question.
That's fine.
I've made notes to carry forward.
Now, let's do,
We've had our discussion now, I'd like to entertain a motion relative to amending the ordinance, of chapter 90, section 90-174, the County Review Standard, residential fence. Now, we are to,
I think as far as this section 90-174, I think we can keep that intact, and I think we have to amend another section of our code to allow for building permits for fences.
Actually, I'll make an adjustment to the language in this section. I just assumed it would be
Rather
within
than
this
within
section.
this one?
Yes.
Okay.
So I can include language to that effect. Because in fact, we're taking a look at other permitting requirements in the city, including for overweight commercial vehicles. Been spending some time working on that language. And so that, we're actually referencing required permits within that section of the code.
Then I move to amend the proposed section 90-174 to include the requirement of a building permit for fences. And I don't have a problem with there being a $5 charge.
I think the fee ought to be established by the city commission.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll second that motion. Mr. Bell and Mr. Gregg. And he added requirements of the building permit. I have a motion and a second. Are you ready for questions?
Yes, we have to vote on the amendment first and vote on the motion.
All right, yeah, thank you for that word. Motion's been amended to include the recommendation of a building permit. We'll go first. All in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, the amendment is unanimous. We'll ask for a vote relative to the item B as presented, amend the code of ordinances, chapter 99 in section 90174, design review standards for fences. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Let the record show that the amendment as presented passed unanimously. Item C, replat of lot 2, Howard W. Carter subdivision plat. I can't for the life of me tell where this is.
It is on Williamson Road.
I know where it is, but I mean on Williams Road, I can't tell where it is.
Have you seen an old gray house that's gutted?
Yeah, that's
Right,
on Page
that's
Road.
the one.
Just about 5 foot from the road.
Okay,
Yes,
all right.
yes. For some bizarre reason, when this lot, was platted, I think in 2006.
It's on the left-hand side as you're going past Laters Creek access.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, I see it now.
And if you take a look at the second page, it shows that subdivision. For beginners, it was platted, creating a non-conforming use with the house inside the front setback. And there are multiple easements scattered across this lot that was serving lot 1, but the single wide trailer on lot 1 was also removed last year. So they're looking to rebuild on both of these lots. But because of the steepness of the terrain of lot 2, I'm recommending reducing the minimum front setback to 25 feet. They're still gonna have to excavate into the hillside, as they've partially done already, but probably have to build a basement home with a garage or the walkout.
So they're gonna tear the house down.
The house is going away, and I think this is a reasonable adjustment to the lot dimensions, so that they can build a new home.
I have a question. I'm looking from this road, not to get down there my property. All past where they done excavated it, like on top of the hill,
That's the second lot.
that's lot 2,
That's lot 1.
that's lot 1.
Yes.
Lot 2 is above lot 1.
No. Lot 2 is the gray home. Lot 1 is up on the hillside.
So we're talking
To
about
the
lot 2,
Left.
with
We're
the
just
house,
talking about lot 2. Yes.
nothing to do with lot 1.
Lot 1 they can build on without any modification.
Okay,
Now, is that where the gravel and all that is now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and there's like a mobile home up there.
Not any longer.
Something's up there. I looked it up. Something's up there. I turned it, little drive.
There's a home on the next lot over from there.
Oh, I didn't go too far. Now, so there's been no excavation.
Where it Where it says Hubert Mitchell Jr., there's a house there.
But it's not that.
They have in removing part of the old home, because they originally thought they could just renovate it but our code doesn't allow a renovation of a house this old or this low of a value. Just as a side note, if they do renovate a home, if it exceeds 50% of the county assessor's valuation for the building, it must be brought into code compliance for today's code, which is the IBC IRC 2015. There is no way a builder can bring this old home into compliance with that. As such, they're gonna just have to tear it down.
Well, let me ask you this, is there any permit that should have been issued for them to done the tear out they've already done?
They did have a demolition permit.
That's all I wanted to know.
Yes, sir. They started the partial demolition without a permit. They were required to pull a permit. They also had illegal burning on the property, and there were some other issues. They were cited for the trash and the condition of the site. And it's my understanding that the owner of the land ended up partnering with a different contractor, and that new contractor brought the condition of the lot into conformity.
So who owns it now? Duke or?
A fellow named Duke, yes. Charlie Duke is,
record circle.
I couldn't tell you. Honestly, it's not relevant to what.
No, I'm just saying. He's a, usually the number.
So I haven't met Mr. Duke. I've been working with his general contractor on this.
Now, back to where we've been. Item C, 8C on the replat lot 2, Howard Fire subdivision.
I move that we approve the replat of lot 2 of the Howard W. Carter subdivision as presented by Mr. Barr.
Mr. Petty, second. Any other question? You look at page 2, it's a lot simpler, a lot plainer. Okay. Ready for questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Let the record show it passed by unanimous vote, please. Okay. Item 8. We go out on into 10. Carry on. If you want to. He's not in. Oh, there.
I needed to confirm a date here. Tentatively, we're planning for November 26th for the planning commission. That's a Monday. It's the last Monday of the month.
Is that right after Thanksgiving?
It's right after Thanksgiving. I should be back.
November 26th.
Is this annual training?
Yes, it is. That's required. 26.
If you're not back, we're not going.
November the what?
26th.
At the same place?
Don't know yet.
Same
I
cook,
don't know who's catering
same
either.
cook. Oh, you need to go.
We haven't decided who's hosting it this year, so, but also the BZA will be required to attend it as well. Just as a reminder, the city commission can dismiss any appointees of the planning commission and the board of zoning appeals if they don't take this required training, or they can give them a pass, but.
But they can also dismiss it regardless.
They can indeed, yes. But
It'd be
this,
5.
then,
It'd be in the afternoon, 5 o'clock.
it'd be evening, yes. 5:30, something along those lines. Usually there's about 3.5 hours of presentation through the course of it, as well as the meeting.
That same guy gonna speak, he is so good.
I don't know.
He loves his job.
Last year.
That guy loves his job. He's from Vanderbilt.
No, very
Thanks.
much.
Thanks.
Thanks.
I don't know, West Portland had some good food.
Westport. Gotta drive to Westport.
What,
Where's that? You don't know where it's gonna be held? In Gallatin? Okay.
It's a good distance up there.
so I'll have more information as we get closer along on that, and I'll be sure to forward it to you all. Regarding the BZA meeting, y'all were there. Unless you had any questions, that was pretty, actually, I thought that was a great meeting. We accomplished a lot, there was some good conversation, good discussion, and I'm thrilled about that project that's coming down the pipeline there as well. For planning and zoning activities, we're moving through, as you know, a couple of annexations and zonings. We're also taking care of some administrative work within our code of ordinances when it comes to building permitting and building regulations, as well as I was tasked recently to work on some overweight trucking issues on some of our streets and roadways within the city. So working through some of that language. Hopefully I'll have that in the next month for you. Or perhaps I may even be able to phase it in if I can wrap this up and have it onto the agenda for Tuesday night for the city commission. I won't have a resolution for it with the fees or identify the roads in all likelihood, but we're moving it forward. A lot of administrative cleanup work in here still, but I'm having great help from our building inspector, Andrew Pierre. He's been super to have here as a resource. Smart guy, and he understands municipal codes pretty well when it comes to zoning ordinances and in particular the building world. And as a reminder, we have a building inspector here. Every day we're open from 9 a.m. till noon. So the residents are being provided for accordingly. So I'm very happy about that. And that is about all I have, unless you all have any questions for me.
Going right along, item 10. Commissioners' comments, general discussion. Anybody? Mr. Gregory? Mr. Smith? Mr. Bell?
No.
Ms. Wade? Mr. Petty?
Yes, sir.
No comments. Mr. Commissioner, you got anything to say? What about your neighbor?
No, I just came in, I thought things started at 5:30.
You gotta be fast around here.
That'd be fast, here.
Yes, sir. All right, next commission meeting is November the 13th. Okay, a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Ms. Wade, thank you, Ms. Wade.
I second.
Bill, second. Thank you.
I did my one and only that one time, and that reversed. No more.
Yeah.
Before you are
That's like someone else.
That's sort of like a little kid.
Concrete mixers.
You've been here,
My
son.
mom was next.